Hey there guys, what is up? Real Diversity here. We are back with another review. And this is a new anime we're doing a review on, and well, I'll talk about that later. But this anime is called Ahiru no Sora, sorry. It's a sports anime about basketball, and we're gonna jump into the episode. I have not done one of these before. So if you're interested, I would probably just go ahead and do it. But if you're interested in this, I will leave a comment, but I will drop and probably make a video about, is this anime worth watching? Because I think that's a lot of questions before it dives into an anime. Is it worth watching? And if you're here already, I'm gonna say yes, it's worth watching. But most likely, if you're here, you're already started the anime, watching it, and you're here for the review of the most recent episode, which is episode 22 of season 1. It's only one season, so yeah. So we're gonna jump into it. So first and foremost, we're gonna, I guess, if you've never seen one of my reviews, we're gonna basically talk about the episode and talk about my kind of predictions of what's gonna happen. I'm not sure. I don't follow the manga if there is one, and I'm not sure. And a lot of people obviously don't either. So I'm gonna make just some general predictions for us non-manga readers, for you guys. And a quick disclaimer is that I am not the greatest at saying some of these names, because they are, Asian culture names. So I'm just not that great at saying some of them. So sorry if I say it weird or whatever. But before this video, I tried to, glance and make sure I was pronouncing them right for you guys. So sorry about that. And I'll try to stay away from the support cast, which, the bench players, because they have harder names. But I know their names, but they have little hard names that I just don't want to mess up. So I'll try to stay away about talking about them. But the main characters are okay names, so I'm good with them. So this episode was about Mokichi, the new guy. Well, that's not really his name, but that's what they're gonna call him from now on. So his name is Mokichi. That's not his real name. But he's super tall. I think they say it's like 198 centimeters. I don't know how tall it is in inches, because in America we usually go by inches, but in Japan and stuff they go off of like centimeters for height. So it's like, that's why in most animes when they mention height they say it in centimeters, and it's always confusing to probably most American watchers. Just like you immediately go to like Google to figure out how tall it is in inches. But yeah, so he is pretty much gonna be like center type player, and they were thinking about recruiting him. So they were I'm jumping way too far ahead. So backtracking a little bit, the start of the episode was between Sora and Kite, and they that's kind of how the last episode left off, where they were they both won like their games, and they were gonna compete against each other in like their freshman class. They're in different classes and whatever. So that was what's gonna happen there. Then they competed at the beginning. Everyone was just kind of like, well, not everyone. Nao. I think that's how you say her name, is Nao. So is Nao the coach or manager, whichever one you consider her. She was like, because she was kind of bragging about it in episode like 21, like, man, watch this guy. He's really good. And then he didn't do much but pass. I guess maybe has some self-doubt about losing their game in episode, was it 21 they lost, or was it? Yeah, 21 I think was, it began 21, I think they lost. So had some doubts about that. Yeah, so he was just kind of, I guess, not really big on scoring, or maybe he just wanted to do a better job at point guard. But either way, he was just not really playing his game, and it kind of moved. He was just been really passive, and they were like, well, don't take, I guess since, you're new to playing in games, you're gonna, really punish yourself for missing that shot, and it could affect your game, is what they were basically telling him. But I don't think he's too affected by that. I think, he's all right. He's just not really that type of, even though, he's new to actual real games and stuff like that. And that wasn't even it was a real game, but that wasn't an official game or anything. So, I mean, it's still, he could just take it as practice. But I don't think he's that type of player anyway. They will really get upset about that. He's just too cheerful of me. Sora, anyway, is too just cheerful. To just see him, I think, be that type of player who really lets it affect him. So I think he's going to brush that off. But he ended up losing the Kite, obviously. I don't, because if we're being real, it was 1-on-1. And I think between Sora and Kite's gonna win every time. And we're gonna let me talk about the members real fast after I get past. No, let me keep going. Okay, so but at the end of this, we're gonna talk about the members and what I think about them and who they represent. But so after that, he lost the game, and then this guy, Mokichi, he showed up out of nowhere. So they were like, "Whoa, who is he?" And the reason I never really seen him, what they explained later in the episode, was because he's kind of, I don't know what's wrong with him exactly, but you know, sometimes he just falls out and things like that. And that's why he doesn't always come to school. That's why most of them didn't see him or anything like that. He's also in the chemistry club, but they saw him and they were like, "Wow, he's tall." But you know, Kite's kind of really the hater of the show, and really just but he keeps it real. That's what his like purpose is. He's a hater and he keeps it real and just kind of gives everyone the blunt, non-sugar coated, like, you know, way it really is. So if you're not good, he's gonna be like, "You're not good," and everyone's gonna be like, "No, you just gotta work harder." But he's gonna just straight up be like, "You're holding us back," or something like that. He's gonna be pretty straightforward with you. But I think at the end of the day, he doesn't really mean much by him, but that's just his character, just straightforward kind of guy. So, but I love Kite. But I think for sure, I don't know if this ever gonna come back to her, if he's ever gonna like just quit the team. Like he just has like, you know, that type of attitude, and I don't know. I think he's just right now, it's just to show some character development later. But just right now, he's really, to me, sketchy in a sense. You know, he's just always criticizing the team and things like that. So it's just kind of, I'm just a little curious of how that's going to play out fully later in the season with Kite. But as of now, he's fully committed and things like that. But moving forward, so Mokichi showed up and everyone was like, I mean, he's just tall. It doesn't mean much, which is true, but height alone is a weapon, which Sora said as well. But everyone was like, I mean, if he can't play, what good is just, you know, being tall? But he did play somewhat in his younger days, which he demonstrated by doing some sky hooks in the game and ended up winning his game. And next episode, he's going to be actually playing Kite. So we're going to see him some more in that. So that's going to be interesting to see. And I think that's really going to determine his decision to play, is how well either Kite, may influence him, or I might jump into, I'm probably jumping into predictions. I'll talk back into that a little later. But as far as so he, you know, demonstrated sky hooks and then impressed pretty much the team. Now Neo and Sora kind of want him on the team, and you know, Kite still kind of like doesn't, because he's a waste of space, quote unquote, still. But everyone else, it doesn't really matter, because I don't think everyone else had too much of an opinion. And yeah, is that pretty much the episode? Because it's just, sometimes the episodes are really drawn out. I think it was really drawn out, just kind of showcasing this guy for not really much reason, which they didn't really have to, because obviously we already know he was going to be on a team. Since if you've seen any episode, you've seen the imp opening, and if you've seen the opening, you know that guy was going to be on the team from since they started showing the opening. So it's a matter of when they were gonna introduce him. For most people who have been watching, it was just a matter of when. We all knew he was coming, but they kind of wasted a lot of time on that, I feel like, and did do a lot of time wasting. But I mean, that's just how sports animes go. They can't always just be straightforward basketball. But yeah, chop. Okay, so I think that was pretty much it. So now Sora wants him on the team, Neo wants him on the team, most other guys want him on the team. Well, no, most other guys are worried about minutes and things like that, but it won't matter. They want to increase their strength. If they really want to win, they're going to need him, and which we know he is going to be on a team for sure, because of the intro. But we still don't know how and what determines his decision. So like I was saying a little bit, let me get back to that. With Kite, I think he's going to play Kite next episode. So I think either he's gonna beat Kite or lose to Kite, whichever one would probably help him make his decision. And I think what's gonna happen here is Kite's gonna embarrass him, or he's gonna he's gonna embarrass Kite, one or two. And I think I'm saying it right. Kite. His name is Kite. I'm pretty sure. He's one of the few names I learned straight up just from hearing Sora say it. Sora says a lot of names like Haru, he's in other names, and it just kind of helps me learn him a little bit when he yells them out. Yeah. So, yeah, I think so. Kite's going to probably have a big influence on this next episode, or it's just going to change Kite's opinion. And it's just my prediction. Either when they battle or, compete against each other, either Kite's going to get embarrassed or Mokichi's going to get embarrassed. But either way, I think it's going to affect his decision to join off of that. Or if not, if that doesn't affect his decision, I think it will at least affect Kite's opinion of the guy. Which he's, like he said, this episode, he still thinks is a waste of space. So yeah, and that's just simply because of just how he is. He feels like speed and skill is like how he based his his game style around. So that's it's just simply the opposite. Is having no skill and being tall is like simply the opposite of his mentality. So that's kind of why he has a dislike for him. But I think that was it for like that episode. In terms of, it wasn't really much to take from it. And yeah, I think Soro's gonna be all right. Whether about missing that shot, I don't think it's gonna affect him too much past this. And then yeah, I think that's pretty much all I want to talk about as far as that. Yeah, and I kind of gave my predictions for the next one. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you guys. Okay, so what I think each of these players represent, and if you're American and you know NBA, or if you just keep up with NBA in general, you will know maybe who some of these players represent. But I'm gonna give my personal preference on who I think. So we're gonna start with Chucky or Chiaki, however you say it, Chiaki or Chucky, which is the taller point guard, the other twin brother with the darker hair afro. If I'm not saying the name completely right, like I said, Chiaki is pretty much, I think, it's supposed to be a Magic Johnson, or a representation of Magic Johnson for their team, because he is like super big and plays point guard really well, has great vision, but at the same time he can score really well too. So when he's not playing point guard. So, but I think mainly just because his size and vision and ability to play point guard, he's supposed to represent Magic Johnson, or even you can even go as far as a stretch and say LeBron James, but I would more say Magic, but yeah, you can even go for a stretch and say that. Momo Haru, I think he is supposed to, or just Momo, I might start saying Momo for sure. Momo Haru, I think he's supposed to represent he's definitely a rebounder and defender type player. So I want to say he represents a player, and I think these players are mostly represent old school legends, or just legends in general, which if you're talking about an NBA legend or historic legend, they're obviously in the past, not really too much now, or living legends, except for like people like I said earlier, like LeBron. But I think he represents more a player somewhat like Dennis Rodman, just a real rebounder / defender type player, grit, a gritty player like that. So I think he's supposed to be like a Dennis Rodman, and I really can't think of anyone else for him except for maybe a traditional center, which I really don't think he's like that. Like what I mean by that, like a traditional center, like a current player like now would be like Andre Drummond or somebody like him, just a traditional center who's good at rebounding and defending. But I think he's more so represents a player like Dennis Rodman. So next up, Kite. So Kite is tricky. Kite's real tricky, and I have no real pinpoint exact person, but I think because of his quickness and his ball handle, and how well he finishes at the rim, and he's well-rounded overall at shooting and things like that too, I really think he's supposed to represent Kyrie Irving as just my straight off the bat. But he could also represent Michael Jordan with his quickness, but his way he can finish in layups. But Mike was more so like Mike could dunk, and Mike, you know, he could do post moves and things like that. He really more so reminds me of someone like Kyrie Irving. But like I said, he could also represent a player like Michael Jordan, or even maybe even Larry Bird, kind of. He kind of reminds me more so of Larry than no. He reminds me of Mike because his speed. But mainly in modern day, he reminds me of Kyrie Irving. I think that's who we're really supposed to represent is Kyrie. And then next, Sora, we're gonna talk about him. He's supposed to be like a point guard shooter, so you could really pair him with any shooter. But since I think they're leaning towards him to be a point guard, I want to say Stephen Curry. But I think you could almost go with almost any shooter like Klay Thompson, Kyle Korver, or even if you want to go farther back than that, Reggie Miller. I think he represents guys like that. But mainly, since he's going to be playing point guard, things like that, a Steph Curry type player. I can't really think of any other player that was like really good at being point guard and shooting. Oh, you know who else? Just reminded me of is Kobe Bryant. He could also represent Kobe Bryant as well. I just thought about that. That is also a really good. You know, I actually get that, and especially now with the elbow sleeve and all that. I think he's really represents more so Kobe Bryant. Now, more I think about it. And Kyrie, so both of them are, you know, to me. And last but not least, Mokichi. I think Mokichi is supposed to represent an old school center type player, and there's only one player who he really resembles, and that is obviously Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with the skyhook. So Kareem, also Hakeem, was Hakeem Olajuwon? I think he may have had a little skyhook. We haven't really seen too much of Mokichi, so I'm not sure, but he reminds me obviously just straight off the bat of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and also I think if he gets a little more skill and things, he may even represent Hakeem Olajuwon as well. But yeah, I won't get too much into the bench because they obviously are just role players and bench players. But they both are. They are. I want to say will probably buckle down on defense and maybe become very good on defense. So they may become like Patrick Beverly type players who aren't really the greatest offensively, but can really hustle and things like that, which is I think what they might become is players like that, just real hustle type players. But yeah, as far as that's all I want to talk about for them. And then I think I covered everything in the episode. I hope I didn't miss anything. I didn't make down a list or pre-write anything down that I was going to talk about, so I'm just going off the bat and off the dome here, so I think I didn't miss anything. We do plenty of videos like this, and we're going to continue doing this one. I'm also gonna drop if this anime is worth watching, if you guys want to tune in for that. So if you did enjoy this, and if you want to keep seeing more, and go check out my other videos as well, you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're gonna be coming out with more episodes every time an episode comes out. I'm also currently doing My Hero Academia, and I might start doing other ones. So anyways, if you did enjoy this, please leave a like, thumbs up, and go ahead and subscribe. Stay tuned. We'll be out. Real Diversity. Peace out.